Hey, hey, hey. You know what time it is.
Time for the Heart to Heart Journey Unconditional Love Podcast.
Yes, and I'm your host, Relay Bloomer. That is my co-host, Harlan Brown. And Harlan Brown, what's up, what's up, what's up, what's up, what's up?
Hey, what's going on? What's going on?
Hey, image versus identity too. That's what we get into. We just gonna jump right into it, man. I think
Let's get it.
we blessed the people last week. Well, I was blessed with it
I was
last week with and knowing the difference between image and identity, and people use that interchangeably and think it's the one and the same, and it's not. So we're going to continue with image because I think we want to harp on image a lot more because I think more people use image and think that that's what their identity is, and I think
yes,
it's some fool's gold. I think they're not really understanding that it's different than who you are, and if they think that's who they are, that's fine. But we're here to just kind of set the record straight on that. So, but like I said, we go right into it. Got a shout out. It's Black History Month, so shout out to all the HBCUs out there. We gave a. I think we got 3 or 4 students that got scholarships from HBCUs, and we definitely want to support that and make sure that they continue to go strong and have those students good get an identity of who they are as a person. And I think the HBCUs do a really good job of that. If you look at the alumni from uh, all of those HBCUs that produce those famous people and the people out here that are doing things, and those people in the background that you don't know that went to HBCUs. So
absolutely.
shout out to you again. We salute you. But
Yes.
let's go ahead and jump right into this. Any words or any thoughts from last week that you want to bring up before we go into extended of what image is there, Harlan Brown?
No, I just think we need to go ahead and continue on with the whole thing of image because I think image has a lot to unpack, and I think it's a lot that personally I think everyone should sit down and think about. So let's go ahead and proceed with the next round of you know what image is.
Yeah. So just to recap, when we talked about image is convincing people who you are.
Right.
Um, you know, um, that says it. I mean, I think that's self-explanatory. You
Right.
have to convince somebody of who you are instead of just
Being.
identity of knowing who you are, but when you have to convince somebody who you are, seek approval for what they give you, you're waiting on to knowing what and who you are. Is that how you want to live? And that's the point that we're trying to make. Is that how you want to live? Would you like to wait for somebody to tell you who you are because of the approval? And they're telling you who you are as opposed to you telling them who you are and they meet you where you are. Um, that's the thing that that hits home about image. So there's a few things that image is shaped by. So the first thing that image is shaped by is like and praise.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Because we create the image just for that, right? For the praise, for the oh wow. Ooh, you got it all together. Oh, you this and you that. Oh, I can tell, as you walk through the room that you are all of these things. And like, no, it's a
Yeah.
little deeper than that. But
Yeah.
I think it is for the praise. It's for the initial shock. It's for that initial look at, wow, look at this. Like, amazing.
Yeah. And a lot of people they thrive off that.
Of course.
That's again thinking that like and praise that they're getting from people is their identity. But it's
Exactly.
not because you're waiting for the like and praise to tell you who you are.
How many
So
people do you
that's the difference between that's the difference between the two.
exactly? I mean, I'm gonna pose this question. Like, how many people do
I'm
you
getting ready to
know?
say you got that finger pointing. So
And yeah, I'm sorry about the pointing, but the thing is, and it came to me because I know a person like this. I know actually a few people like this. How many people do we know that we always think they always have it together only because they're always put together, right? This person spends. hours getting themselves together just to go to the store or just to be outside or just to be seen, opposed to the person who throws on a pair of sweats and runs to the store. Like they would never be caught in the public eye like that because they have to have this perfect persona, right?
Yeah.
But in that perfect persona, the person who comes to mind for me, I know that in that perfect persona of everything being perfect and excellent in everything, that there's always this deep-seated thing when they're not included in certain things, like as perfect as I am, like I should have been the first person that was called, and I don't understand
Yeah.
why I'm not
Yeah.
called. But then it also puts other people in that person's space as I ain't good enough to hang out, with them because they got it all together. I'm just a regular person.
Yeah.
So look at how many people are blocked out of being in your space only because they see this perfect persona. And then look how many times that you are not included because people can't handle the perfect. Right. So are you
Yeah.
what did you just create? And why does that, and I know it bothers this person, but I so desperately try to break it down a little bit more to say, like be who you are 100%. But let people see a real side of you, not necessarily this beautifully painted, etched edges, perfectly manicured person.
But think about this, and I know we didn't talk about this, and we having a heart to heart, right? So
Right,
just
yeah,
think
just
about this. Where did we get this from? Think about how this is ingrained in our people, what we do, right? Don't It's all about it was remember think about it, it's all about image. Don't you go out there and embarrass our family's name. Don't you
exactly.
go out there and do that. You need to look a certain way to go here. You need to be this way to go here. You need to act this way to go here. Think about that. So that's a lot of pressure on a kid. That's a lot of pressure on an adult. It really is a lot of pressure on an adult. But I look back and because as you was talking, I was thinking about like where's the origin of this? And that origin has come from we had to live that way where we had to carry an image about who we were instead of saying this is our identity of who we are. Now there were some families who they were, and those were the thug family. The thug. They like, oh yeah, he's a criminal. Yeah, yeah, he's a juvenile delinquent. That ain't no image. That's his identity, and it's crazy. But for everybody else that was out there, it was more about how your family was perceived on the block. How the image that you had to carry, like, oh, when you come outside, oh, she's this, she's dressed nice, she's this, she's got it together, whatever. But you can hear the arguing out the window in the apartment or through the door in the apartment, and you're like, what is going on? I thought these were perfect people.
Right.
But I say that to say, when image is shaped about like and praise, that's a slippery slope that you go down. And you
Right.
want to be careful about wanting to get the likes and praise from everybody because when those likes and praise stop, who are you? So that's the
You
question that I
start
pose to the
killing
audience.
yourself.
Yeah,
That's a
say that one more time.
that's a hard place to find yourself because you don't know who you are because you have been so many things to so many people that your true identity gets smothered in it all. And then when the praises stop, or the title goes away, or the likes and the and you become the ordinary person that we're not like always, look at you.
Yeah,
And now you're
yeah,
just
yeah,
regular and you're like,
yeah,
regular who? Like, I don't know how to be that. Like,
yeah.
how do I sit in who I am when and when it's taken me so long to figure out who I am because I was so many things for so many people until they didn't need me anymore. And
Yeah.
now,
I'm
and
a,
now I find myself.
I just thought about something.
Mhm.
So I'm watching a video because I refuse to go to these concerts. there's an artist that is still singing, and I'm wondering why. Because she sounds horrible. I'm not going to name any names, but it's like, do you miss the like and praise that much that you want to go out here, and it's kind of embarrassing yourself because your voice is not where it was 30, 40 years ago, 50, 60 years ago, and you're on stage wanting to reenact what you were doing when you were younger. And it sounds horrible to a person who knows music. Now you applaud them for even being out there because you, again, they might be bored and don't want to go out there, but I think it's more a necessity to go out there and have a concert, make some money, but also getting that like and praise back because they were so used to it, and that's who they became. That's when they were most happy because they were getting that like and praise. But I'm like, if you do not get off this stage, like this is horrible. You sound horrible. You're not on note. You're not on key. It's horrible. You know. So, and I hate to say that, but it really is because we want to stay positive here.
You have to say it. No, you have to say it because there's so many. Like, and I know everybody can probably think of somebody that they went to see or somebody they saw in a clip and somebody they like, what? Like, what is, and it comes and now it's coming about as like, and I'm talking about, people who was around when I was younger and I was like, and now it comes across as like the younger people are like, oh my God, look at this person. Like, what are they doing? Why are they doing
what she doing? But back in the day, she was this or he was that,
And
it's
so
crazy. I mean, I don't know.
The jokes. And now I've seen people who have like spliced together like different artists from my time that I jammed to with them, like, older, trying to still do the moves or like tripping on stage and so it is crazy because that's what I'm saying with image. Like it's not a definite anything because you're trying. You keep on trying to keep up this image. And in all actuality, the image was great at one point, and maybe you profited from that image at one point.
Yeah.
But time moves. And it comes a time where you have to be like, you know what? I got to figure out my identity now, right? I got to understand how to be me, how to just be. I don't have to perform.
It ain't singing. It definitely ain't singing.
Yeah. I just got to figure out
that ship has sailed. I mean, yeah, you might be able to, you used to carry that tune. You used to have that perfect note, but it's like deafening to the ears, like But and again, like I said, we want to stay positive on here, but this is just an example of what like and praise can get you, and where you think you still have it and you really don't. And I won't even say you're embarrassing yourself because I don't want to use that word. You're trying to uphold an image that you've had ever since you were, younger and able to do it at a high level, and now you can't do it. And sometimes you just need to sit back and let those younger artists come up and do their thing. So I'm gonna get off of this really quick. So we'll go to the next. I'm gonna go to the next thing. So image is also shaped by comparison. You always compare yourself to other things, and I'm just gonna put it in biblical terms like this. This is what I tell people that I know. Look, what God has for you is for you. Don't compare yourself to anybody else, because what is for you is for you, and what you have is for you, and what they have is for them. Don't be jealous. Don't be whatever that is, because when you compare yourself, you put yourself and you want to create an image that is not even who you are, and you're going to put yourself in a world of trouble. So don't even do that. What's your thoughts on that, Harlem Brown?
Nobody can be the best version of you but you. You cannot be anybody else. Your best is who you are, your being. God created you. He has never created another one like you. So why would you waste your time trying to be with somebody else's instead of just being?
But go back to that point. No one, he didn't create anybody else like you.
No, you're
So
the only
why is that not so appealing to you to say I'm unique in my own self, as opposed to yeah, I'm unique in my own self, but I don't like myself. I'd rather be them.
Yeah, like God made a mistake because he created you wrong because he's supposed to create you like somebody else. Like think about those things when you're comparing yourself. Why would I want to be something that I'm not? Why would I want to be? God created me for his purposes exactly the way that I needed to be in order to
Yes.
handle the things that I'm going to have to deal with in my life. We look at other people and we think that, oh, you think the grass is greener on the other side, but it's not necessarily greener because you're not capable and you're not able to handle some of the things that people had to handle to get to where they were, right? So think about that as well, because there's a lot of things I can look at and be like, oh, that would be great, but am I willing to go through for that? No.
Right. Yeah,
No. I
absolutely.
just want the end piece. I don't want the journey to get there. I just want to get to the
Right.
end.
Yeah, yeah, man. That's good stuff. Good stuff. And the last point that we want to put out there is image is shaped by cultural standards and fear of rejection. I put those together. One to keep it at three, but also cultural standards and fear of rejection, they kind of go hand in hand. You
Mhm.
know, because you try to live up to these cultural standards, and if you don't, you're going to be rejected. Some
Yep.
people are going to reject you, and you have that fear that hey, if I don't live up to this image, they're not going to. Then no one's going to like me. I'm just going to be a regular Joe Schmo on the streets. I'm gonna tell you this: I am a regular Joe Schmo, and I thrived in it. I'm who God made me, and I walked in what God gave me. I didn't need an image to do whatever. Now, I am going to say my image per se is I'm called a late bloomer, and that's just to protect my identity. People who know me, but again, you know, I'm not really a social media person, but hey, um, I stand firm in who I am, and I don't mind being a regular Joe Schmo. I don't mind just being a regular person who's just bringing you a message every week. I'm a regular. I'm not out there, you know, vying for likes and things like that. I just put the content out, and if you like it, you like it. If you don't, I understand. I'm not hurt by it. It doesn't define me. This image that you know you feel we're upholding. No, I'm doing God's work. And I don't know if there's an image to that. That's an identity that I know who I speak for. I know what I stand for. I know who I am. And we'll get to identity. So I just wanted to just say, just cultural standards could be so defining for others that their fear of rejection is so devastating to them that they don't know how to assimilate into society just to be a person and to be who they are. So, any thoughts on that, Harlan Brown?
I think with cultural standards and the fear of rejection comes two things that come to mind to me. And just to be on a just an evil playing field, I'm gonna start with one profession I see a lot is comedians. They get canceled all of the time because they tell a joke that somebody thought was offensive. And so although 50% of the audience laughed, you got 50% of the audience that didn't think that was funny. And then that 50% is going to be screaming, cancel, cancel, cancel this person. Oh my God, how could you be so this and how could you be so that?
But it's
And a
probably
lot,
not even 50%. It's probably like 80-20.
right.
20% is like, you know, hey,
Long as you have some people who can join together on something that they don't like, they can feed off of each other just to make it bigger than it really is, right?
yeah,
And so comedians are I see it all the time. Oh, this person is so funny. Oh, now we don't like him no more because he said this, or oh, he was so funny. We don't like him no more because he said this. And
yeah,
so the thing about comedians, I do like they're gonna keep on going, and they're gonna make a joke about the fact that you didn't like the joke that they said, and they're gonna keep saying the joke, right?
yeah,
And then there is the Christian community where we go out and we get around people and we are scared to speak on the fact that we are Christians or God is who I believe in. And
Yeah.
we will dumb down and we don't want to be rejected. We have this, my culture is going to church and being around other Christians. But if I'm in another setting, I can't speak about that. It's not that I can't speak about it, but you feel people feel that that's a rejection. That's something that they shouldn't speak about. And that's a subject that we shouldn't touch on. And,
Yeah.
it's my belief, but, I'm not going to really put it out there, but there's nothing wrong with that. Like, if I'm going to say this, there's people who say what they want to say every day, and you accept it or you don't accept it. If I say I'm a Christian and you're like, well, I'm not, well, that's cool, but that doesn't change who I am. I'm going to sit in where I am. And that rejection is not necessarily a rejection of me. You just rejected the part of you rejected something that I believe in. And that's fine, because you don't have to believe what I believe. But on the same token, I'm allowing you to be who you are. You allow me to be who I am, and we can mutually come to a great understanding and still be friends and totally believe in two different things. But it's not for me to, I'm not forcing anything on you. And that rejection doesn't mean, me being who I am doesn't mean that I'm being rejected. It just means, so don't take it to heart. Don't take it personally. It's just something that somebody does not agree with. And if you look at it that way, then you won't have to perform. You don't have to put on. You don't have to try to fit in cultural norms. You can just be who you are and understand, like, okay, if you don't like it, that's fine. But then there might be 5 Christians behind you that be like, praise the Lord. I'll be like, hey,
But it's tough in the culture to be plain. And if you're just plain, you have nothing that anybody wants. And I think that's the fear of the rejection, that you have nothing that nobody wants, but you're unique in yourself. And that's more than enough to get you through, that you don't have to worry about cultural standards or how people view you or what the image that you're putting out there because of wanting to be accepted. So, this is some good stuff. We got so much more to go. I know our time is up. Any last words before we, sign off this week about I versus I, but dealing more with the image? This podcast.
I just want to say that, as we think about how we present ourselves, right? I want to just leave everybody with a little something like that they can think about. Like, I'm just going to ask this question, like, what if your title or what your image is changes today? Who would you be, and would you be the same person? Would you rest in your identity, or would you be lost trying to find who, try to rebrand your image?
That's a good one. That's a good one. So we're going to leave you on that, as we always in our podcast. And I didn't get it right last time. It's been so long. Trying to do something to keep you in the same place. But when you actually do something, your place has no limitations. I am your host, Delay Bloomer. That is my co-host, Harlan Brown. And we'll see you next week.
Next week.
Yeah.